been a few days, Adam.
Been a little bit of a gap. I feel like we say that at the beginning of every single podcast.
Well, we're fixing to get on a roll with these, but we have good reason.
Committing to it.
We're committed to it. We have good reason for having a little bit of a delay. We usually try to drop one of these, if not once a week, at least every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And I think we're going on almost 3 weeks since we dropped a new podcast. But there's good reason for it. Tragedy struck, unfortunately.
A little bit. Yeah, it happened a little bit.
But a lot of people, I think, probably know, but there's probably some people that don't. People that discover in our podcast maybe not know this, but a couple weeks back, Adam's home burned to the ground.
Yeah.
We're just going to kind of hop into it today. Normally we have a lot of back and forth banter. We talk about food and we talk about, things like that. And it probably will still surface itself.
Yeah.
In this.
No, it is close to lunchtime, so.
Yeah.
The normal things will probably occur. But
yeah.
It is a bit of a different mood than usual.
And it needs to be. I was driving to speak at First Baptist Neosho, Missouri, and we actually had a phone call with a client, of Full Strut Media, doing some media work for a company, and we had a phone call set up with them, and I'd called you about, 6-7 minutes before the phone call, and we were going to patch them in, but we were just kind of talking through just some work stuff. And
yeah, just very normal.
Yeah.
Very, very normal day. And then during that conversation, I heard the shop door just slam open,
Yeah.
And my son Hurley was just screaming, just, Daddy, Daddy, Daddy. And then he busted through the office door.
Yeah, and I could hear him coming from a ways on the phone.
Yeah.
I knew he was coming.
He busted through the office door, and he said, Daddy, the house is on fire. And I just said to you, I got to go. House is on fire. I actually don't really remember what I said.
You just said, I gotta go. I mean, I heard Hurley and what he said. And you just said, I gotta go. I gotta go.
Yeah.
And
I took
up.
off.
Yeah.
Yeah. We ran outside, and my initial thought was that, there was something small, like just maybe like a napkin got caught on fire in the stove or something.
Right.
But when I came outside, I could see all the smoke coming off the back porch, and then busted through the front door of the house and just completely caught off guard with the fact that the entire back of the house, like I could see out the back door, and it was just orange. And so I remember at that point just going, this is bad. And you get to, what's very interesting about all of this is I talked to a few people that have told me it's amazing what happens when you are in a moment of just panic, I guess, is probably
survival.
The best thing.
Yeah. Like
you
just all these instinct stuff kick in.
You just go into straight adrenaline. And what's funny is that people say that you revert back to things that you know in a time of panic. And for some reason at that very moment, like I've got video footage of the earliest moments of the fire, pulling my phone out and videoing. But I remember at that point I ran back outside because I thought maybe I can get to the hose and at least kind of do something.
Well, and so in the meantime of this, you let me go, and immediately I call your brother, Austin, who lives 150 yards, 200 yards away?
Yeah, 100 yards or so.
And I call Austin. He doesn't answer appropriately.
Yeah.
And he texts me and says, I'm laying the baby down. What's up? And I said, call me now. Your brother's house is on fire.
Which is not a text you receive every day.
No. And so he quickly calls me, and he's like, "What?" And I said, "Dude, I don't know. I was on the phone with your brother. Hurley ran in, said the house is on fire. You need to get to your brother's house now."
Yeah. And then so Austin, he comes out of the house and just
See,
at
he's
that point,
immediate. Yeah, he's like, the whole back porch is engulfed. Oh my gosh, I gotta go. Hangs up.
yeah, and he full sprints across the field, which I mean, to set the scene in the most saddest of country music songs,
I know.
the house burned down in the snow.
Yeah, 4 inches of snow on the ground.
So it's just the saddest of the saddest. But Austin runs across the house. By the time he got to the front porch, falling a few times, by the time he got to the front porch and met me there, I had already backed the van out, which the van was parked right next to the back porch where the house was burning the hottest. And so the side of the van has a fresh patina.
Well, it melted the headlights out.
It melted the headlights out and all the paint. What's crazy is that fire was so hot that it actually discolored the seats from outside. Like the heat from outside the window actually discolored the seats. It's just nuts.
Just how hot it was and how quickly it got there.
And super smart decision for me to jump in that car and back it out. Because
well, in the moment, like you said, you just kind of go into
game mode.
You know, and speaking of game mode, so number one, your whole family's home.
Everybody's safe.
You have little Addie.
Mm-hmm.
How old's Addie?
Addie is 1.
She's 1.
Mm-hmm.
And immediately you thought Addie started this.
Immediately.
Because Addie...
That would be what she would have done.
She would have done. I get to spend some time with your little girl, Addie, and I love her because she is a hellion.
Addie Faye.
Addie Faye.
Honey Badger don't care.
Oh, man. Addie Faye is fun. We just had lunch the other day, and you were like handing her her sippy cup, and you're like, put it back on the table.
Mm-hmm.
Put it back on the table. And she looks at you and then just throws it on the floor.
Yeah.
Like on purpose. Like, what are you going to do about it, Dad?
She's solid as an oak. She'll stare at you right in the face and do exactly what you say not to do. And just go, what are you going to do about it?
What are you going to do about it, Dad? But Addie, you got your 1-year-old in the house. You've got, your 5-year-old Hurley, and man, you shared some incredible things about Hurley.
Yeah.
In the midst of this too.
Yeah. So the thing that was the craziest was Hurley. I'm super proud of Hurley. He came and got me without any no prompting from anybody.
Yeah.
He just knew something's bad. Go get Daddy. And so he busted in and came back out, and he followed me for the better part of 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Right at the beginning of the fire. When we were trying to run around, we were trying to grab things, we were trying to do anything we could possibly do at that moment in time.
Yeah, so you and your brother have gone. Yeah. Now you went into the house.
Yeah.
You talked about filming, and really honestly, which was super, super helpful because from an insurance standpoint.
Yeah, we were
nobody
able to see
preps for a fire.
No.
If you're one of those people that have completely prepped your home for a fire and you've got an inventory of all the things in your house.
You've either spent a lot of money or you got way too much free time.
That's exactly right. You can kiss it.
Yeah.
Okay, because that is not reality.
It's not real.
But you ran in, you were able to film. Did you film every room in the house? Did you
I did a little once over of every single room.
Because when did when was the moment you realized my home's
it's over?
It's over.
I realized when I ran in the house first time, saw the back door on fire, and I ran back out with that initial thought of go get the hose, see if you can try to get it under control.
The old green water hose.
Yeah. So ran out to the back pad, or I guess that pad that's in between the shop and the house, and I grabbed the hose, turned it on, and turned around, and that was the moment that I saw. I mean, just full rolling fire out the back of the porch, and that was the moment I knew it's over. It's over.
So, I mean, you're talking seconds into the whole process.
Oh, we're talking
really.
2 minutes at the top end.
2 minutes? Wow.
2 minutes at the top end. And so then Austin and I run into the house, and I say, you go that way, go to the kids' rooms, grab clothes. I went to my room to grab clothes. I tried to go into our laundry room where we have like all the kids' birth certificates and all that stuff, and I got halfway in and I couldn't because the fire was completely, like the flames were like up over my head, and I was trying to get under them, but I couldn't get close enough, and I was starting to cough and choke. And so that's when I just ran into the room, grabbed a few clothes before we get cut off to the bedroom. So I grabbed those clothes and ran back out, and then we ran in one more time after that to go try to get some more clothes out of the kids' bedroom. And after that third time, we tried to go back in, and Austin, I was running back in, and my brother clotheslined me in the door and was just screaming at me, it's over, you can't go back in, it's not worth it, everything that you need's out here. And Hurley all this time is chasing around whatever I'm doing. He's following me. He's right on my six the whole time.
Yeah, with no shoes on.
Yeah, and that's the thing that was the craziest is he turned into this little man. Like he completely and totally abandoned everything that he cared about. Mm-hmm. He could have easily run into his room and got his toys. Yeah. He could have gotten his books. He could have gotten anything, but he chose to go in and out, follow me, listen to his daddy. And the last thing he did is when I realized he had no shoes on and he'd been chasing me in the snow for 10 minutes, I said, Hurley, where's your shoes? And he looked, and it was kind of a funny moment because he looked down and he goes, oh, like he didn't even, right. I mean, you get an adrenaline like that, and he has no clue. But I said, it was during that second time that we were in the house. And I said, go to your room, get your tennis shoes, get out of the house, and don't come back in. And he said, okay. And so he ran into the house, got his tennis shoes, and on his way out, he had the thought, what's most valuable to my sister? And Josie has this little doll called Baby, and literally this thing is a member of the family. Mm-hmm. Like this thing, if that would have burned, we would have had a funeral.
Had a funeral for Baby.
Or Josie would be still in therapy at this point. So it would not be okay. But he had the thought. He ran out and saw that Josie didn't have it. And so he knew that I said, get out of the house and don't come back. And he got to the threshold and he turned around and he thought, where's Baby? And he ran back into the living room.
That's awesome.
Saw that doll, grabbed it, ran back out, and then the next time I saw him, Casey was standing out on the front porch, and she was upset, obviously, and Hurley was holding Addie and holding Josie. Josie was screaming and crying, and Addie was screaming, but Hurley was standing there, and he wasn't shedding a tear. He was just saying, it's going to be okay, guys. It's going to be okay. And he turned into a little man. Mm. And I'll never forget seeing him standing there with his chest puffed out, being strong for his sisters and for his mommy. I mean, Casey was a wreck, and he was not about to add to it. Mm. So I'm the most proud of him through that whole thing. And I can't, it just is, it's such a blur, because after that point, when you realized it was over, I had the thought, like, I should probably call Brad back.
Yeah.
I should probably call Brad back at this point and let him know that everybody's okay.
Well, I can tell you that's a phone call that I will never, ever forget. You called me, and of course I'm in this, kind of in limbo because I've called Austin. Obviously I know that your house is on fire. I heard Hurley say that. I can't imagine the time between when I hung up with you. There's a 15-minute time span. That felt like 4 hours. Oh my gosh, and so I start calling people to pray, and pray, to start praying for you. I called Brett. And that's actually a funny story because I didn't know how it started, but I told Brett, I said, it's probably that shady electrical work.
Brett, let this happen, Brett.
Brett's an electrician, and he kind of oversaw, Adam did a lot of the electrical work himself, but Brett followed him in and kind of made sure. I did 95% of it, and Brett basically just came in and
tried to make sure I had panic attacks about it every now and
Yeah,
then.
he did. And so I called him and told him, hey, man, we need to pray for Adam. His house is on fire. He's like, how'd it start? And I said, man, it's probably that shady electrical. He was tore up. Like, he was sick about it. Like, he was like, I should have never let him wire that house. I should have never done it. I should have put my foot down, But that phone call, man, when you called me, man, your exact words were, it's gone. The house is gone. And you're like, everything's burning. And I'm just like, oh my gosh. And I'm bawling with you. I'm crying right now. I mean, that's just like, just the emotion of that and hearing you. And I don't know if I've kind of gotten hardened with life. Like, I lost my dad. I've lost my mom. I've lost most of my grandparents. Like tragedy. I hate to say I've just kind of become numb to it, but man, in that moment, the weight of it was so heavy, and I felt it, and
it was real.
It was real, man. And, I'm driving down the road, and I'm just sobbing with you, and you're just like, but it's just stuff. It's just stuff. It's just stuff. It can all be replaced. And I remember telling you, I said, I'm so thankful that it didn't start in one of your kids' rooms. It didn't trap one of your kids. I said, oh, your kids are out, your family's out, like everybody's alive, and and you're like, yes, it's just stuff. And you just said, God's still good. God's still good. And I had a battle because I'm supposed to speak that night. Mm-hmm. And like, you're my best friend, and I was not that far from you.
No,
I'm an hour from you at this point, probably. And I had this moment of like, man, do I turn around? Do I call this church and tell them I can't come? Like, what do I do? And in that moment, like, we hang up, and I'm like, man, you share with me, and you're like, I gotta let you go. The fire department wasn't even there.
No, it was also. Living out in the rural. It's 20 minutes for a fire truck,
right?
If you're lucky,
right? And you're talking about volunteer firefighters. Guys, they're not in the station waiting for this to happen. Anyway, you're like, I got to let you go. And obviously, we're like, well, why are you getting off the phone? Selfish. You get off the phone, and I'm just in this moment of battling. Like, do I tell the church I can't come? What do I do? And I'm like, dude, if I don't go and speak at this men's event at this church, Adam will freaking be so mad at me. Mm-hmm. Like, I have to go do this. This is like what everything we do is about.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is it. Like, what I'm going to do is why we do the podcast. It's why we do the show. It's about how do we honor the Lord in it. Mm-hmm. And this is such a big part of it. And I knew you'd be mad at me if I showed up at your house and be like, you didn't go.
Like it really does. It's one of those things that I remember in that. I'll never forget that phone call either, because it was the first. I was in full adrenaline up until about that moment, and that was the first moment when I really just had a cognizant thought that it's gone.
Yeah.
And like I was telling, everybody had been saying it's just stuff, and I hadn't had that thought yet of it happened during the day. It happened when everybody was home. Yeah. It happened in a place outside where we actually were able to go save stuff, And I remember, I'm happy about it because I felt like our default in the moment that we were kind of locked in jail, I'm really happy to know that our heart's default in that moment was to just give God glory. Mm-hmm. Something one of my uncles told me was, the measure of a man is not what you've accomplished, but what you've overcome. And I thought in that moment, overcoming for us was just a moment of going, thank you, and you're still good. And it reminded me of Paul and Silas in prison and giving thanks. And everything up until this moment has been, I've seen over and over of God shaking the prison walls and releasing a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And he's using this to give himself glory. And I've seen the hands and feet of Jesus work in ways that I've never thought possible. You and April, I mean, just instinctively just went to work and began to, like you said, you immediately started asking for people to pray. But on top of that, April gets on and starts that GoFundMe page, and you guys get going with that. And I think the next conversation I had with you guys, you said something like, hey, we started a GoFundMe page, and it's already up to like $5,000.
Yeah.
And I was like, it's not been 12 hours.
Yeah.
And I remember just, and this is at the point where I walk our church out in Wellston. Those people just have loved me and my family in a way that I can't. I can't talk about it without getting really emotional, because they don't know me. They don't know me at all. I've
new.
been only there for a year.
Yeah.
And they've given so much, more than I could have ever have asked for. And it's just been unreal how much they've given. And even people that I don't know, all the people with the GoFundMe stuff. I mean, I walked in that night smelling like smoke, realizing I literally had no clothes, and somebody handed me a plate with a hot meal on it, handed me a pair of shorts, handed me a t-shirt and a pair of underwear, and said, there's soap and shampoo and stuff across the street at your brother's house. Go take a shower, eat your food, come back. Because my parents, that bunkhouse across the street, which has been the biggest blessing in the entire world, that God let this happen, but he also is taking care of us all at the same time. And he knew that our family would be able to give him glory through all of this, because like our roots are deep.
Yeah.
Our roots are deep in him. And I know that Satan was like, you see that family, you take everything that he's worked for the past year, and he'll curse you to your face. And the joke's on him.
I love that Matt Chandler, listen to him often. Pastor Matt Chandler says that one of God's favorite things is to take the arrows of the enemy that he shoots at us, to snatch him out of the air, turn around, and shoot them right back at him. To take those things that he meant for harm for us, and to use those things to glorify the Lord's name in it. And a lot of people, not that anybody's home is less important than somebody else's, but guys, y'all may not realize this if you're listening. Adam, you took literally a year.
The pandemic
to do a ton of, I mean, you did so much of that house yourself.
Yeah, I built the house.
You built the house, man. Like, we talked about the electrical and Brett's shady work. You did, I mean, there's so much of it that you did, and were a part of when it came to building and putting that house together. You basically took a year of building a house. And so it wasn't just a home, but I mean, this was your dream home. This was like this was
we
it.
Designed it.
You and Casey sat and designed it and built, and then you put so much sweat and blood and tears into it. And then, this happened. So not that I'm not downplaying anybody else that's ever lost a home, but like, I do feel like there's more weight to it just because you didn't have a general contractor. You did.
That was me.
It was you. You were the GC of building your home. And there's just it's unbelievable. But you talked about just the outpouring of people, man. I want to just say thank you. So much of that GoFundMe donations came from fans.
Oh yeah.
Of Final Descent Outdoors, and people, as we shared that through social media, and I'm so thankful for the people that helped share that for us. Kendall Jones. Kendall has, over 1 million followers on social media, and Kendall shared that on her page about Adam losing his home. And so Kendall, I'm so thankful that you did that. And Daniel Arms, our pro staffer at Arms Family Homestead, and their social media, they jumped in and shared that as well. Lots of other people shared it, and man, our fans just outpoured such support, and our sponsors.
Yeah.
Like unbelievable, man, the outpouring from people from Taylor Targets to, the folks at Real Avid giving personal.
Yeah.
Guys from Habit, Nick. They made sure you had clothes.
Yeah.
Sent clothes for you and your family.
Yeah. No, it's just,
I'm so thankful for those people that follow us, that watch us, listen to us, and you just see it. That they care, and it just means a lot.
Yeah, it's moments like that where you realize that, and we talk about it a lot, about Lone Ranger Christianity and how it just doesn't exist.
Yeah, man, you can't.
And like I said so many times, I have never seen the hands and feet of Jesus work like until this has happened to me.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget it. I mean, it strengthens faith. And not only for me and my family, I think for everybody that's been involved with it.
For me, 100%, man. I mean, I've seen it firsthand too, man. Just the outpouring when I spoke there. Well, golly, I go to NAO show, and I mean, I'm a few hours out from your home burning, and I got to get up on stage and speak in front of 500 people.
Yeah,
I'm a wreck, dude. A friggin' wreck. And you sent me a video clip. You texted me a video clip.
Yeah.
And I asked them if they would play that video clip of your home burning.
Gosh.
At the church, and I asked if I could share about what was happening, just for prayer. I said, "Man, this is what's going on. Will you guys pray for my buddy Adam, and our producer of our show, and my best friend, and get up and I share about it and I speak, and it was a great night. I was super emotional, But
oh yeah,
the Lord moved, man. I mean, there's like 20, 30 people that accepted Christ that night. It was awesome,
and that's what makes it worth it.
100%. Anyway, and then they surprised me. They get up afterwards and they said, "Hey, on the tables," because I mean, there's 500 people there on Friday night, and they said, "Hey, there's little baskets on each table, and if you feel led, every year we always ask if you feel led to give some money to go back to support, this event. It takes a lot of money to do this." Man, they gave away all kinds of stuff. The owner of Black Rain Ordnance, it's an AR company, big. They make it's awesome guns.
Awesome.
Oh yeah, awesome ARs.
I remember he side note, he came over and showed me this catalog, and I was just like,
That's really cool.
The catalog's got drool all over it.
That's where Neosho, Missouri is, where Black Rain Ordnance is, and he was there that night and donates a bunch of guns to be given away. Like, it's super cool. They've got guns, and they're all like great food. Anyway, they said, normally we ask if you want to give towards, going back to money to help us put this event on every year. You can give, but don't feel led. But this year we're going to do something different. They said, we just feel like we're supposed to take up an offering for Adam and his family. And dude, their event has gotten so big over the years that they do one on. They do the event Friday night. They have about 500 men, and then on Saturday they do the event again and have about 500. So there's like 1,000 people at this event. And both nights they took up an offering for Adam, and it was thousands of dollars. And those people don't know you,
Nope.
you know, but they know our ministry and our show and what we do, and they wanted to support that, and it was incredible. The outpouring from strangers, you know,
And you think that people are just gonna be like, oh, well, they got insurance.
yeah,
But it's amazing to me how people are so generous,
yeah,
and I honestly believe that those people that gave, it wasn't out of compulsion. I mean, it was out of a deep desire of they know what God has done for them,
mm-hmm.
and they wanted somebody else to know what God has done for them, and this is a way I can show you.
Yeah,
And it's for me, it was more of a reminder. Every dollar that came and every text I got, every prayer I got came not only from a saint, but it also came from God just going, I see you.
yeah,
I see you, and this is just temporary, and it's gonna get better. And trust in this thing, this dollar that's coming. Trust and know that this is just the start of something.
yeah,
And it's not a name it and claim it. It's not anything like that. It's just God's better than we all think.
yeah,
And he's going to continue to show himself faithful. And just like we've seen him do that over and over again with this show,
yeah,
I know that he's faithful even in this. And I hadn't made a YouTube video in a long time. And I had so many people give and so many people say stuff, and I know that there were people that had watched our YouTube channel that I hadn't posted anything in forever. And I just wanted to make sure I could fill everybody in. And I had no intentions of that video getting but just a couple hundred views, just so I could let some people know
yeah,
what was going on. And so I just turned the camera on and just kind of told the story, kind of like we're doing now, and just talked. And
Yeah.
it was the first time that I had really even talked about it at
Yeah.
length.
yeah,
This is the second time I've really talked about it at length. But I remember there was a kind of a clairvoyant moment where I said, if my house burned down so that you could hear that Jesus loves you, that's worth it for me. And now that video's got 19,500 views.
yeah,
And 19,500 people have been told that Jesus loves them, and they've heard his name.
yeah. 20,000 people. I mean, it's
And
incredible.
and they've heard the story of how his church works.
Yeah,
And they've heard the story of how he's good, and despite the circumstances that life throws at you, and he's constant. They've heard all of that stuff. And for me, I think I said something along, I had, like, every now and then I get these good one-liners, and I'll never forget this one because it was, I kind of stole it from Smash Mouth.
okay,
But I guess I didn't really steal it. It was just something that was in the back of my brain floating from listening to it way too much. But I said, if I don't know what's going on, your house may not be on fire, or your house may have not burned down, but your world may be on fire. But if you need to hear that Jesus loves you today. And I think we all have that in our life. That there's some times where, everything else around us that's going on seems normal, but on the inside, it's all burning down. And I had a very external version of that happen to me. But there's a lot of people that, probably even a few that I would imagine are listening to this podcast right now, that your world is on fire in one way or the other. And you need to hear the day that Jesus has a track record of standing in the fire with people.
Yeah, he does.
And I don't know if you needed to hear that today. I need to hear it every day. But we're going to be okay. And God is still good. Jesus still sits on his throne. But, yeah, the house burned down.
Well, the number one question that is asked to me outside of, hey, how's Adam doing? And I'll say this too. I appreciate all of our clients with Full Strut Media and Final Descent Outdoors.
That's a whole other thing.
They have been incredibly gracious with us because, and I immediately reached out to a lot of those people and said, hey, you usually reach out to Adam and ask him questions about this. Could Adam's house burned, and can we have some grace on some timelines and some things? And those people were so appreciative of those, the folks at the city of Davis.
Yeah.
We do a lot of media stuff with Turner Falls.
Mm-hmm.
JTS Shotguns. We were in the middle of building a website for them, and they just immediately were like, man, thank you. Thorn Broadhead guys as well.
Mm-hmm.
And all those people, and those guys gave too, man. Those people have given money and helped as well, man. Just so many of our partners and our fans that just poured out, and we're just so thankful for them. But outside of asking about how you're doing, the next question that I get the most is, what caused it?
Oh, gosh. Yeah. That's always the number one question, isn't it?
What happened?
What caused it? Well, to the best of our knowledge, and
because it started on the back porch, it wasn't interior of the home.
It was not
right?
interior. It started on the back porch. About a week and a half prior to that event happening, we acquired some kittens.
Mm-hmm.
2 young kittens, a female named Snowflake, and a male named that my daughter named Brownie. We got 2 kittens for her birthday.
Okay.
And so during the snow, they're outside cats. They are barn cats,
right?
Designed to take care of vermin. So we said, well, we're going to put these cats out on the back porch and keep them close to the house for right now, so they kind of establish what home is. And during the snow, very common thing to do with animals when it's cold outside is to set out a heat lamp for them, keep them a little warmer.
Yep.
Well, we didn't take into account that kittens come from the pit of hell,
and they're a little rambunctious at times.
Yes. So they, as best we can tell, is that one of 3 situations: either A, the heat lamp just fell over, which is not as likely just because I know what it was clipped onto and all that stuff, or B, the kittens knocked over the heat lamp, or C, they chewed on a wire, or somehow or one way or another, what we've assessed is that kittens plus heat lamp equals house burned down.
You know who is not surprised by this?
Who is that?
Mark Henson.
Oh, yeah?
I've never known a person who hates cats more than Mark Henson. He actually has a shirt that talks about his hatred.
Really?
For cats. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, Mark would tell you that they are the spawn of Satan.
Yeah,
cats are.
I do know that the Lord is just, though.
Oh, yeah? Wow.
The Lord is just.
Explain your level of justness.
So, as I stated, we had 2 kittens.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know how many kittens we have now?
I do.
We have 1.
Mm-hmm.
Brownie is aptly named because he's brown.
Yeah.
You know, you're talking about a 5-year-old naming animals. It's not super complicated.
Right.
And Snowflake, I can bet you can assume what color Snowflake is.
Oh, yeah.
She's white.
Burgundy. Oh. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, white.
She's white.
Yeah.
So, after the fire happened,
It's like me with her shirt off. I take my shirt off. It's just pasty. Pasty white.
it's like you're almost blue. You're so white. It's like that silver
I've
color.
never seen an albino with dark hair. That albino have a beard. It's black.
Yes. No. So,
Yeah.
Brownie and Snowflake went to go live with their aunt and Uncle Austin and Aunt Katie at their house with the other kitten in the litter, which we named Marv.
Okay.
Yeah. So old Marvin.
And their dog Howard.
And their dog Howard, old shaky leg Howard.
Shaky leg
Yeah.
Howard.
He's got a neurological disease, okay? It's not funny. He can't help it.
He just got,
Yeah.
he has a
No,
leg.
when Howard stands in front of you, he looks like he's real excited because he just starts like his whole body starts shaking from the back end. And he can't help it. He's got a neurological issue. It's unmedicated. Okay?
I'm sure it is.
Yeah. So anyway,
I think Austin's going to pay for vet care for that. Not happening.
you better get used to that shake.
That's right.
Use it to your advantage.
That's right.
Maybe you could go work for a digging company.
Oh, so
Yeah.
So Snowflake.
So Snowflake goes to live with Marv and her brother. Well, Marv and Brownie are both, in the middle of a field. They're both fairly camouflaged.
Yeah.
We have a large hawk that circles the property. Large and in charge hawk.
Yeah, probably big old red tail.
Big old red-tailed hawk. Guaranteed. I know who started the fire.
Yeah? You think you know, huh?
The vengeance is mine, declares the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
And Snowflake, we cannot confirm it, but that hawk wasn't there for a couple days after that
Because he was full.
because his tummy was full.
He caught him. He caught him a white cat.
Well, when you are playing out in the middle of a field
Yeah.
with your brothers,
Yeah.
and all of them hunker down, and you do as well, and you realize that you are a giant highlighter in the middle of this field.
Yeah, because the snow has melted by now.
Yeah, snow was gone. So, yeah, no. The heat lamp caused by Snowflake, and then the hawk
Got vengeance.
came upon Snowflake, sent from the Lord in his divine judgment, and took care of Snowflake.
I feel like too, a lot of people, like you said, you have insurance. It's not that you
Yes.
don't have insurance, but there's things
Yeah.
that aren't covered. So, for instance, the GoFundMe. People are like, hey, you got insurance. Why do we do a GoFundMe? One, we were just trying to figure out a way to get your kids through college, and so that's why.
Gotta
we
slog
started-
some money away somewhere.
That's right. So we started the GoFundMe. We just saw an opportunity and we sprung. No, I'm just kidding. For instance, your wife's vehicle. She has a van, and it was paid for. And because you're cheap, tell me about your insurance situation on that van.
We just downgraded it to collision insurance, so just liability insurance. Because I'm cheap.
Yeah, it is, dude. Like that. I've had multiple conversations with people about that specifically, and they're like, "What in the world?"
Yeah,
Anyway, regretful decisions, but
it is what it is.
because it was not in a structure. Your wife's van was not in a structure; it was in the driveway. Your homeowner's insurance
No,
didn't cover it,
no.
and even though it is totaled, I mean, you melted the seats.
Yes, it was
Changed,
gone.
I mean, it's you melted the mirror and the headlights, and the vehicle was the insurance. It was totaled. It's not covered. Your vehicle insurance didn't cover it. Your homeowner's insurance didn't cover it. You guys are out of vehicle.
Yeah,
When you set up your policy, you were a family of 4.
yeah.
You hadn't had Addie Faye,
Yep.
and so you added another person to your home, which means expenses that come with it, and so you were light on
Yeah,
the things inside your home.
yeah,
And so they're just things that are just short.
yeah. And our policy was set to renew in April.
Right.
which is when they reevaluate you and they say, did you add any contents? Do you need to get
A
all that
baby.
stuff?
We added a baby.
We added a living human being.
Yes. So
And so at that point, they're going to go, oh, we need to add probably another $15,000 to $20,000 of coverage to your
Right.
contents.
right. Exactly. So anyway, so I want everybody to understand, where the funds for the GoFundMe are going to. We're excited about it. The fact that the GoFundMe funds are going to be able to help purchase a vehicle
Yeah.
for your family, because you're having to completely replace that.
Yeah.
And help out with some other things as well. And I know with the GoFundMe and then money that's just been given, we had a random
Yeah.
person drive to my house
Yeah.
and deliver a check
Yeah.
for like $1,000
Yeah.
through churches that have given, through individuals that have given, through the GoFundMe. It's like over $30,000 that came in for Adam, and so we're just so thankful. And I wanted you guys to know where that funds, that money you gave, what it was going to. I love the new speedboat, by the way, that you just picked up
that's
last
cool.
week.
The 3 engines.
Just down payment. I'm just kidding. All that money's going to
40
help.
footer.
You just don't even think about, and I just listen to you guys talk about just even how you have to deal with the insurance aspect. Is that you have to list out everything in your home, and if anything's over $500, you have to have a receipt or picture or video proof that it was in your home. So one of the smartest things you did was run through your house and quickly video everything in your house.
If I could give you one piece of advice, if your house is ever on fire,
video it
right then.
Run in
and video it.
Because who's
Risk your
keeping
life.
receipts on all those things, and so you're able to
Nobody does.
Nobody does.
Unless you have Amazon.
Unless you buy everything on Amazon.
That
That's
was a
true.
nice bonus.
Yeah. But you videoed that stuff and you're able to get a ton of it added in on your policy. But a lot of things people don't think about. So it's been a rough couple weeks for you and your family. But man, it's also been beautiful, like you said. I have been touched and moved because I have seen the hand of God move with your family in this whole situation, and it's been incredible. And our relationship and how it is. I came to see you that day. Well, first off, I'll back up too. Is that you're talking about people brought you some clothes because all you had was what you had on that in that moment. Y'all did get some clothes and grab some things.
I grabbed all the stuff that didn't fit.
Because you've lost all this weight. You grabbed all the stuff that was like 2Xs.
Yeah.
So it's like
Pulled it all out and went, well, I saved the LTD collection that we're going to sell and auction off on the next banquet.
That's right.
Yeah.
Good word there. Anyway.
You're welcome.
Yeah, appreciate that. Appreciate it. No, but my son Matthias, we came out and brought some things, and my daughter gave some baby dolls to your girls, and the boys brought some stuff too out for Hurley, and but Matthias, because he has a ginormous foot, he's just turned 14. He wears a size 13. There's some shoes that he'd outgrown, and so was able to give you some tennis shoes because all you had was like a pair of cowboy boots. And
I
so
literally
you could wear
only
shorts
had
and a t-shirt and cowboy boots everywhere.
like heavy boots, too.
Yeah, I mean work boots.
Yeah, work
Big old
cowboy
steel toe.
boots. So I'd have been walking around for 3 days in a pair of gym shorts and cowboy boots and knee-high socks.
Right.
It looked really classy.
It looked very phallus. He looked very phallus.
I was full phallus.
Oh, you were full phallus, no doubt about it.
I remember though putting those shoes on, and I
you were
remember
like,
looking
oh
up and
my
you and be like, "These are so light.
Yeah,
I feel like my feet are floating."
yeah, it was nice to have those.
Wonderful.
Feeling good right now. But for I stopped in. I spoke in Neosho. Brought you this. I'll never forget. I pulled up to your house, and there's so many people. Your family's there. People from your church are there.
Mm-hmm.
All kinds of things are happening. They're remodeling the bathroom in the bunkhouse.
Yeah, that's a
and
whole nother story.
I know. We'll save that for another time. But they're remodeling the bathroom, and now it's like speed mode because your family's having to like move into this little 2-bedroom bunkhouse while figuring out what you're going to do and the rebuild and all this stuff. And so they're trying to hurry and get some plumbing stuff done. So you have a toilet.
Yeah, because there was none.
There was nothing there for you.
Toilets.
Or
Or shower or sink.
I remember I had this wad of cash from Neosho from the
like
2 nights.
drug money. Is
Oh,
what
it did.
Like.
It looked like it did. It looked like
I went and sold some coke for your family.
I've been selling some Columbia booger sugar. I had this big old wad of cash, and I remember I pulled up and Hurley come running out, and I handed it to him, and I said, "Go take that to your mama." And he was like, he was like, "Mom," and he runs in, and I was able to see you, give you a big hug, and I'm in just visiting with people, and I'll never forget you asked me. You said they were fixing to use a concrete saw.
Yeah, they're using some big heavy equipment in the bathroom, and I said, "Brad, hey, do you have any ear protection in your truck? Like we're about to use the saw in here," and there's probably 15 people in the house.
Yeah, and honestly, and maybe 7 or 8 of them know me.
Yeah, they don't.
So that means there's 7 or 8 that don't know me.
Even if they do know you, they don't know our relationship at all.
Right, and you said, "Hey, do you have any hearing protection in your truck?" Obviously, I shoot guns and stuff. Do you have any?
Very logical question.
Very logical question. And you're like, I lost all mine. It's just very dark. What was my response, Adam?
You said, "Why? What happened?"
And I mean, you could hear a pin drop.
Everything. I mean, you got to think. There's people in here working on a bathroom, and everything just went. Whoosh.
I mean, I go, "Oh, why? What happened?"
And everybody just like turns and looks.
Like everybody
That
just
insensitive.
That insensitive jerk. Really? His home just burnt down, and you're asking what happened?
I remember just laughing though.
And you immediately started laughing. And I remember going,
"That's dark."
And I went, "Oh, what? Too soon?" Literally the next day. 2 days later. Anyway, man,
it was crazy. Well, and something that I appreciate that you did is you took $100 out of that money, and you said, "Hey, I want to do something special," and you went and got Hurley and pulled him aside. And it's one thing when your daddy tells you that you did a good thing, but when another man that you respect comes up to you and says, "Hey, I'm proud of you," that's a cool moment, and he'll never forget that.
Yeah. Actually, it was $100, but it was somebody that actually walked up to me and gave me $100, and he was a grandpa, and we kind of shared and talked about having grandkids, and he said, "I want to make sure this goes towards those kids." And he gave me $100, and so I remember asking you, because you'd shared with me just how proud of you were of Hurley and just what a little man he was. And I remember asking you and Casey, "Hey, can I give Hurley $100?
Yeah,
this $100." And I remember he's got all of his cousins there, and which was great because he's not thinking about.
He had the best spring break he's ever had.
Right.
Ever.
Right. Yeah, he's just surrounded by friends, staying the night at friends.
Every night.
He was just
full party.
Yeah, he's living it up. But I remember going, "Hey, Hurley, can I talk to you?" And like all of his little buddies, cousins, Tank, and all, they all come with him. And I said, "Actually, I need to speak to him in private." And he kind of had this look like, "Oh,
what have I done?"
And I said, "Hey, buddy," I said, "Man, your dad told me just how brave you were." And just what an incredible job you did, that nobody told you to come and get him when the house caught on fire, and how you went in and got your sister's doll. I was like, "Man, that is like incredible, Hurley. Like, you're so brave," and run off with any shoes on. And I said, "Man, I was telling your story and shared with this church, and somebody wanted you to have this because they're proud of you." And he was like, "What is it?" And I handed it to him, and it was kind of folded up,
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, cool." And I was like, "Open it up and look." And he's like, "Is that $100? And I said, "It is, man. It's $100. And he was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
And he like puts it in his pocket.
Yeah.
And then goes to play. And I was like, "You might want to go give that to your mom."
Yeah. You might want to
go give that to your mom.
put that in a safer location.
Yeah, because I could see this.
That is going to be gone in 14 and a half seconds.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But anyway, just I know a lot of people, probably just love to hear your story. I know this was therapeutic for me today. This makes me want to go eat tacos.
And full circle.
I knew we would.
Full circle back to the tacos.
Which one are we going to today?
I kind of want to go back to the little gas station again.
It was cheap.
It was cheap. Man, it was good.
It was good. We go to that little gas station, get some tacos.
Yeah.
Buddy, I love you so much, man.
I know you do.
You're my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been a roller coaster. It's been a roller coaster, but I appreciate you. I appreciate your faith. I appreciate your willingness to put up with me and my
dumpster fire.
Yeah, man. Like, I shoot it straight, bro. Like, I put up with my dumpster fire sometimes, and my diva attitude sometimes of getting frustrated and mad, and just being a tool sometimes, man. And I appreciate you put up with me, and that you don't let that not make you not like me anymore. Maybe you don't, but you don't let it bleed out too much. No, I appreciate you a lot, and I appreciate just your friendship, buddy. And we'll walk through this and continue to walk through it. And it's been really cool. One of our staffers, Brant Hill, stepped in and was like, he does construction.
Yeah.
I was like, hey, man. He's like, what's that?
He's a contractor.
He's a contractor, and he says, hey, man, I'm gonna oversee your house being built. We're gonna make this happen. And said, I'm not gonna charge you.
You're not gonna give me a dime for it. Was his exact word.
Yeah. You're not gonna pay me
crap
for overlooking the building of your home. I wanna do that.
Crap.
Which is that's like $30,000-$40,000.
Yeah, that's thousands, tens of thousands of dollars.
And he's like, you're not paying me. I'm gonna do this for you. I'm gonna make sure your house gets built and gets built the way you want it built.
Yeah.
And so just the outpouring has been incredible. And so we love all you guys. Been tuning in and listening and watching the podcast and supporting us and supporting Final Descent Outdoors. We're maybe a little bit behind on production, just through some of this too, but we are underway with editing. We're so appreciative of Jake Cornish.
Jacob Cornish.
Jacob.
Jacob.
He's helping us with editing, the old employee.
Yes.
And also field staffer. But just wanted to share today all the things.
All of the things.
Yeah.
And just like Brad said, I cannot thank everybody. I cannot thank everybody enough. It has been so incredible to see the outpouring of God's people.
Yeah.
And how much generosity, how much grace you've demonstrated what God did for me and you on the cross. Mm-hmm. You demonstrated it very well.
Very much so. Very much so.
Yeah.
Man, if there is any way that we can be encouraging you and praying for you in any way, man, we can help you begin a relationship with the Lord. We can help you go through a tough time. We would love to do that. You can go to finaldescentoutdoors.com. You can go to the contact us, and you can email us. If it's not me or Adam, that'll be our staff pastor, Dave Coffey. One of us will get with you, and we'd love to pray with you. We'd love to encourage you. And or you can find us on social media. You can find Final Descent Outdoors at FD Outdoors on Twitter and on Instagram. You just search Final Descent Outdoors on Facebook. Yeah. And you can find me personally. I do have a page on Facebook. This Brad Clay. I'm maxed out on friends on Facebook, so I can't add it. So I started a page. Mm-hmm. And anyway, Adam, how can people go and find you? We're going to put up a link to your video you made following your fire too.
Yeah, it's Hurley Films, HearlyFilms. And that's we have a YouTube channel that we try to stay updated on, or now we are trying again to stay updated on. And all the other social medias, it's just kind of hit or miss.
Yeah, don't follow.
You probably just want to go through Brad to find me. It's probably the fastest
it's true.
way to do that. But yeah, no.
That's awesome, buddy.
I love you too, buddy.
Love you, man.
I appreciate you.
I appreciate you too, bud.
You've demonstrated friendship in a way that I'll never forget.
Well, don't worry. I'll screw it up.
I'll get you back.
I'll get you back, buddy. You'll be like, man, that was...
Well, that wasn't worth it.
That was not worth it. No, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you. We'll see you on the next podcast.